Hi, I'm Carrie Blazer, mother, shaman, and recently published author of My Inner Heroine, Exploring Feminine Pain. Today I'm going to go over what is a hot topic right now called the rapture. And we're going to talk about a few things. Why self-love creates heaven on earth, how reality being dual in nature, and Christians saying we're made in the image of God. And if reality is dual in nature, why don't we perceive God to be dual in nature as well? And what would happen if we did? And how would that help the issue that everyone calls the patriarchy? My Israeli heritage. My ex-husband is Israeli. He's in Israel right now, right before the Jewish New Year, and where they're going to blow all the horns next week. And my kids are half Israeli. And the current political situation where only 10 countries voted for Israel to be a one-state nation and not a two-state nation. And I'm going to bring in the dual nature of reality into that. We'll also get into topics like, my soul is the same soul as Mary Magdalene, the Cathars in France, who were decimated, like a million of them during the medieval Inquisition, because they followed Mary Magdalene's and Jesus Christ's teachings, like the early Christians, like the Essenes, like the Gnostics. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about today, bringing all of this together right before, next week. So let's talk about a little bit about me. Okay, let's start with the Mary Magdalene thing. And I have a whole write-up in my description on YouTube of my channel, and my new website will be out by the end of September 2025. So I'm trying to get all this information out as I'm accepting it right before the horns being blown next week. That's the first time they're doing it live across the world. Is a lot of prophecies say that's calling in the Messiah. Okay, so let's talk about, calling in the Messiah. So what are some of the signs of synchronicities? Okay, so my guy from my childhood, his initials are JC. He's former FBI, currently the head of global security at GoDaddy, if you want to look him up. He's also in my book. So in my book, I attracted 5 men. I had a suicide attempt 6 years ago. Then in healing, I brought out my shamanic gifts. And then I've experienced enlightenment like 20, 30, 40 times, I don't know, all the time for the past year and a half. And my book ends pretty much in December of 2024. And then and that's when things stop. I finished my book, I published in April, and then I've still been kind of unearthing, who am I, in healing and such. So my birthday is June 25th, the direct opposite of December 25th, masculine and feminine opposites. Let's bring in astrology. June 25th is Cancer, cardinal water sign. Water's emotions, water's femininity. That's divine feminine energy. December 25th is Earth sign, cardinal Earth sign, Capricorn. That's divine masculine energy. I was born in Scottsdale, Arizona, where Charlie Kirk lives. Hence, I really resonate with him, and Mary is the solution to toxic femininity. That he said that in the same day I sent out my first email to the Red Pill community, because I really connect with them, because they're some of the heroes in my book, like Justin Waller, Andrew Tate, 2 decorated Fire Academy instructors. Let them know all the signs of synchronicities to show that my soul is the same soul as Mary Magdalene. Now, I have a master's degree in East Asian religious studies. I went East. I speak Chinese, learned classical Chinese. I never went West. I mean, in June, I even Googled, did Jesus have a wife? Because I didn't know. That wasn't my thing. So, and then to go on from there, the Cathars prophesied that Mary Magdalene would return in 2021. And the Cathars located, in France. I lived in southern France from the time I was 1 till I was 3. In the Ladakh region, exactly where the Cathars are. You can watch the Da Vinci Code. And a million of them were killed during the medieval Inquisition. Why? Because materialism to them, they had like the 5D world and the 3D world. They had the spiritual world and then the physical world, and they were aligning with the spiritual world and were rejecting the physical world. Well, the Catholic Church didn't agree with that. And they agreed, they self-love is the way. They don't need a whole church to get to heaven. I mean, The first day I started making YouTube videos, like 5 days ago, was September 14th. I didn't know. I found out the day later that was the exaltation of the Holy Cross, meaning the day in the 4th century where people went back to Jerusalem and found what they decided is the cross where Jesus was killed. And why? Why do they need that? Well, the cross is the only ladder to heaven, didn't you know? You can't create heaven on earth by loving yourself enough, accepting yourself enough, being grateful for life enough, self-reflecting enough, forgiving enough. That's not the path. You have to have the church, didn't you know? Here's the problem. Women are physiologically designed to do healing work, forgiveness, compassion, self-reflection, creativity, intuition. It's all right-brained to the left side of the body, the feminine side of the body. If women can do the healing work, why do we need the church? Oh, but if men can go to Jesus for forgiveness, why does it matter if the wife forgives you? You just pay enough money to the church and you're forgiven, right? You ascend to heaven, right? You see what I'm talking about? And the Buddhism is the same way. You know, same way. Same problems. So how can self-love create heaven on earth? Okay? And I get into this in my book. Well, physicists have proven that we all have energy bodies, and that all of our energy bodies are all connected through our heart spaces, and we all communicate through our heart spaces. Like, there's countless millions of videos showing a dog getting excited before his owner comes home, like 1 or 2 minutes before his owner comes home. Well, how does that happen? Communicate through the heart space. Well, you know, animals are also aligned with nature. I mean, we see bears climbing trees one day, 24 hours before a Cat 5 hurricane arrives. Humans, we're stupid as fuck, sitting in our houses by the ocean thinking, bring it. Okay, so we're gonna die and the bear's gonna live because the bear understands his intuition or her intuition and is smart enough to follow it. But we have that challenge as humans. That's one of the areas we need to grow. So self-love. When we trust that this is actually happening, now physicists have proven that spirituality is real. Okay, so and our souls communicate through emotions, with shame being about 20 hertz, love being about 200 hertz, and enlightenment and emotion, Buddhists never taught me that, is 700 to 1,000 hertz. Okay, they're a bunch of men who have left women claiming an emotion, and we don't think there's an imbalance there? Okay, so we are constantly projecting our heart onto other souls, which, for the evidence by science, the electromagnetic field around our heart is 5,000 times stronger than our brain. The nervous system in our heart is far more complex than our brain, and our heart sends far more signals to our brain than the other way around. So let's look at Charlie Kirk. Do you think the shooter loved himself? Do you think the person that tried to assassinate Trump loved himself? Do you think that The View, those women, constantly saying misogynistic, shame, do you think they love themselves? Let's talk about that. How does that work? Okay, so our hearts project our soul's energy, which includes wounds and wisdom, includes shame, guilt, and fear, and love, compassion, and enlightenment, onto other souls. Okay, and other souls are also energy beings. Why are we attracted to one soul and not another? Why does one soul draw our attention and not another? Here's why. Okay, so a two-prong experiment in physics. If one prong is tuned to 500 hertz, remember shame was 20 hertz, right? And love was 200 hertz, so I'm just using numbers, 500 hertz, and the other prong is tuned to 400 hertz, when this one moves, the 400 hertz doesn't even notice, doesn't even, completely different reality. But if they're both 400 hertz, one moves, so does the other, draws the perception, draws the attention. So when I project my heart onto other people, who do I resonate with? Where is my perception drawn? Who do I feel is most familiar? Are people with my same energy. So if I'm noticing love and compassion outside of myself, that's my soul showing me the love and compassion inside of myself. But if I'm seeing selfishness and misogyny and transphobia and all these other things The View talks about, then that is my soul showing me those things inside of myself. Our experience as a soul is very insular. So what we perceive on the outside is also what's going on the inside, because our outside is our external reality is a projection of our internal reality. Like, I came into Justin Waller's life, Andrew Tate's best friend, in June of 2022, which was 2 months before Andrew's takedown started. So I'd already established a strong soul connection with Andrew's soul. So when he was placed in solitary confinement, I came into my garage where my recliner was in the dark and sat there for a few months every day and talked to him and helped him self-reflect and heal while he was in solitary confinement. So one time I asked him, at the beginning, I said, "Okay, Andrew, so you know that our external reality is a reflection of our internal reality, right?" He's like, "Yeah." So I said, "So based on that perspective, why are you in solitary confinement?" But then I had to ask myself, why do I resonate with Andrew Tate in solitary confinement? I felt that alone my whole life. Barely had friends. You could see if you pull up, go to my website or the document in my YouTube channel description, there's I resonate with a statue that is about a grieving parent, and it shows the head, the arms, the legs, but the whole center is gone. It's called emptiness. And I resonated with that statue before I remembered that some of the trauma between, what seems to be some of the trauma between me and JC about rape and forced abortions. But I haven't talked to him yet. So I can't say for certain what exactly has happened. So, okay, so when we project our hearts on the field, what we perceive is our soul showing us ourselves. So when we all have love in our hearts for ourselves and have a healthy cup of love to pour on ourselves, our spouses, our children, our family, our community, an overflowing cup of love, and then we project all that love externally, and then what we receive back is love, and more people are doing that, that is how we create heaven on earth. No one's coming to save us. How many times have you heard that, did your own work, and were like so grateful that you learned to do it on your own because that's how you had to learn? Because someone coming in and how often does someone coming in and making it easy work out? Like, has communism worked out? Let's just make it easy. Everybody has food and water and a house. Just make it easy. Oh, we just need to kill 50 million people in China to make it easy. Oh, then we need to kill political operatives to make it easy. Oh, it's a lot of killing to make shit easy. Think about it. So we talked about self-love. Let's talk about what's the next thing on our list. Okay, the dual nature of reality, and how the dual nature of reality, seeing it that way, can help us address what we call the patriarchy. Okay, so during my first enlightenment experience last March, I was shown that the problem, one of our problems, like a glitch in the matrix, so to speak, and I'm in the red pill community, right? So that makes sense. I'm using that language. So the glitch in the matrix is our perception of God, which then that worldview gets projected everywhere. We ascribe feminine work as a masculine accolade. Creativity, creation. Men don't have a womb. Women have a womb. Women create, men orchestrate. Femininity is creation, forgiveness and intuition and right brain. So if we all decide that God is also dual in nature, because Christianity says we are made in the image of God. Well, if God is singular and we're dual, how are we made in the image of God? Okay? It seems like a convenient way to disenfranchise women and empower men. Just saying. So, if we ascribe, and then imagine we apply that to the household, because women don't want to stay home and just belittle themselves to be a stay-at-home mom. Ew. Like, I loved being a stay-at-home mom, but I was also raised in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s when all of that was like, get a job. That's better, So, if we make men and women equal in the home, and the woman learns to occupy the center of the relationship, and the man occupies the provider protector role, which is kind of the leader role, because when it comes to safety, men have to be in charge. It can't be, well, you can tell me now, but you can't tell me then, and I get to decide when you can tell me, because the woman's not focused on safety. There's tons of studies that show that when noise happens by a child inside the house, the woman hears and the man doesn't. But when there's rustling leaves outside the house, the man hears, but the woman doesn't. Because we are here to do separate roles. Women are inside work, men are outside work. Well, inside work is women, but church is inside work. So why are we going to church to men for inside work and wonder what the fuck the problem is? Right? So if we listen to the Da Vinci Code, the Holy Grail is Mary Magdalene's womb. But it's her energetic womb. It's her soul's womb, because they were looking for a bloodline, right? In Da Vinci Code. Well, that's a fucking joke. The Holy Grail is whatever womb is in the body that I embody in that lifetime on earth. And it's only earth, you know? So this whole bloodline thing that, like, we pass down by kings by the blood. No. Our souls choose our bodies for specific reasons, for specific lessons. They don't house the energy of the soul. The soul goes from body to body to body. So the soul is what's consistent. The body is discardable. That's one reason I think the Cathar is focused on the spiritual and not the physical. Because the spiritual, our souls are eternal. The physical, that just ends whenever you die that lifetime. Okay, so that's the dual nature of reality. And let's talk about, my Israeli heritage. So right now, my ex-husband is in Israel. Just a few days before Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, the New Year, where they're going to blow the 100 horns, where they are ready to build the third temple. And we're like, I say it's darkest before the dawn. All countries but 10, but of course America was there, voted for a two-state solution to Israel. 2 is dual. People could be saying one thing, but what's coming out of them is another. Imagine if God were dual in nature. Imagine if Israel supported that, embraced that. How many women would support Israel? How many men would support Israel? But, Judaism can be very patriarchal as well. They make women shave their heads and wear wigs, but they don't treat the men very well. If you've ever been in Israel in the summer and you see the Orthodox, the blacks, the Shortzim, they don't say blacks is racist. I said that because if you heard racist, that's you being racist and not understanding Israel. Schwartz is black in German, and Im is Hebrew, and they wear those dark suits, so they call them the blacks. But they wear those in the summertime. That's physiologically dangerous. To be, 100-degree heat, 90% humidity, wearing a suit made for winter in New York. So they have their challenges too. But, there's a reason for everything. My soul planned everything and had me in southern France in my early childhood to connect with the Cathars, where Mary Magdalene's history is. And they had like 1 million Cathars they killed in the 14th century. So it wasn't a small movement. Was not a small, there are all different kinds of Christianity. And then, of course, people who control want everybody under them. So then there's wars to control what is really Christian, 1,500 years after Jesus was alive. So we weren't ready for the truth. It just wasn't time for the truth yet. But now maybe it is. My legal name is Buzoglu. It's a very, the most Sephardic Jewish Israeli last name you can get. It's kind of like it's the last name Luciano. It's that much of a tough guy last name, but they're also very much oppressed in Israel. They did this study and they had scantrons. So it's just, multiple choice answers. There's no room for error. The Ashkenazi or European Jewish kids got 100. The Buzoglu kids, they got 80. So there's problems out there and they need to be resolved. Okay. And the whole situation in Israel, Israel's not going anywhere. It's a one-state solution, I'll tell you that. But if anyone wants me involved, there's the dual nature of God. Because, no, we're not doing that anymore. We are not doing that anymore. So there's one more thing I'm going to talk about here. And it's current politics. Yeah. So that's my standpoint on that. We need to see God as dual in nature, to honor women, to support women in feeling how important, and like society mirroring how important the role is for women to stay at home. Right now, 50% of kids do not have a secure attachment to self. that means they're mentally ill. Only less than half of our kids are reading and writing at grade level. I wonder what the problem is. There's tons of scientific data showing that a healthy nuclear family is a bedrock of a stable society. Well, right now we have one man, multiple women, right? Women don't value themselves. Men don't value themselves. Casual sex leads women to their demise, and men are doing it. So men can think, oh, well, I'm fine with casual sex. Well, hang on a second. You've been tasked to provide and protect women, but yet you're leading them to their demise because now we have tons of scientific data proving that casual sex destroys women's ability to pair bond as wives and mothers. Oh, but you let it, but you're not culpable for it. Oh, I forgot, right? You're not a leader. Oh, but you are. Oh, but you're not. Oh, you are when it's convenient. Just like women want equality when it's convenient. Oh, red pill. Yeah, Myron, let's go. So anyway, that's what I got to say about that today. And I'll keep talking about it. But the dual nature of reality, if we can reflect that in God and give women their proper space next to a man, not behind a man, not below a man, we are equally important as men. And men are equally important as women. And we have different roles. And the Cherokee proverb, I'm going to say it again because it sums it up best. It's the dedication of my book. A woman's highest calling is to connect a man to his soul so he can unite with Source. A man's highest calling is to protect a woman so she can walk the earth unharmed. And I keep brought up like Charlie Kirk's thing. Tyler Robinson was engaged in a relationship with another man. He's not protecting a woman. He's arguing over who's the man in the relationship. They're arguing. And then who is she? She's arguing with herself whether she's a man or a woman. So a lot of imbalance and dysfunction there. It's a wound. Transgender is a wound. Anything that takes us away from our biological imperatives to stay alive and procreate is a wound. Biological imperatives are a reflection of universal truths, wisdom, and knowledge. So it's a wound. Christians are right. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I'll come back later with another video. Take care.